Hey, it's Louise Schofield. I'm now joined with Ed Geater. He's joined me on Zoom today. How are you, Ed? You good?
Hey Louise, I'm good. How are you? You all right?
Good. Not too bad, not too bad. How's lockdown been treating you? Lockdown numero 3. How's it been?
Oh, it is what it is. You gotta try and make the best of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be creative as possible, and use the time effectively
Yeah.
for writing, producing, creating content, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bleak, right? We
I
can't.
know, I know. There's no end to the tunnel right now, is there? So it's just kind of be as productive as possible until we can see some kind of light.
That's it. Which is why we're here, right?
Exactly, yeah. This is why the Zoom. But I was having a look at some of your playlists on Spotify, your Dreamy Beats one, and you had a
Oh,
bit of
nice
Frank
one.
Ocean on there, a bit of Caribou. It was like nice little playlist. Is that some of the tunes that have been getting you through lockdown at the moment?
Thanks so much. Yeah. It is. Yeah, a lot of recent stuff, recent listening, and then also listening from years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like beats that I've not listened to for maybe like 5 years, and I'm just like, yeah, that fits Dreamy Beats playlist. I'm gonna add that
To
as
whack
well.
it on.
Maybe like there's a Little Dragon song on there that I'd not listened to for ages, and I was like, oh, it's such a great
So
song. Smooth,
good.
smooth. Cat Rider. That's it. Cat Rider.
Yeah, yeah,
Great,
yeah.
great track. And yeah, I just wanted to make a playlist like that because they're really the kind of songs and overall kind of sounds and textures that really inspire what I make as well.
Yeah, it's always nice to listen to that as well. And I think sometimes it is nice to revisit some old songs, especially when you're in your own head a lot. It brings back some nice memories, doesn't it, when you revisit old songs, like moments and stuff. I always like that. I think that's good.
100%. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that as well. I think it's amazing how, a song becomes like a kind of it's like signifies a moment in your life. You kind of build a relationship with it, don't you? With
No,
the song.
yeah, you do. And then when you whack it on again, it takes you back to those moments, and it is such a nice feeling. But you're quite the multi-instrumentalist as well, and you're a beatboxer, producer, and you're a songwriter as well. So when you're writing music, that must be such a blessing for you to bring in all those different talents that you have to create something that you want. You must have quite a lot of freedom there.
Yeah, I do actually, and like dabbling in different instruments and also producing as well does give me a lot of creative control,
Yeah.
and that's something I am really happy about because I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to my sound and what I want to do,
Yeah.
and also I've more naturally been more of a kind of introverted musician rather than a jam musician, I think, throughout my life.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, I do work well on my own, and then so that in that way I've got the ability to create, to get near enough to the sound I've got in my head, I suppose, without having to rely on other people,
That's
which
good though. That is good
is
because
good.
you don't
Yeah.
have to wait for anybody. You're like, right, I've got this idea. I'm going to do it then. This is for me.
True, true. But
Get on with it.
on the flip side, it then means you have to rely on yourself a lot and motivate yourself a lot,
Yeah.
and that's not something that always comes easily, depending on where you're at any given time. You can't always force creativity and force that kind of drive that you get when you feel inspired.
Yeah, you've
Sometimes
got
it
to be
doesn't
in the
work.
mood, haven't you, to like do it and stuff. Otherwise, it's just not going to come out organically, is it at all? So you've got to be in the
Yeah,
zone to do it.
exactly. And for example, if you're in a band, you might have a bandmate who's in that mode, and they bring it out of you. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
you thrive, and you get a buzz from their passion or their sort of energy at the moment.
absolutely.
So yeah, it comes with its challenges, but I love it, man. Like, I can't complain. Like, I absolutely love it.
Definitely, it's pros and cons in it. Pros and cons, you got to weigh them up, which is
Sorry.
good. But what was the first instrument you picked up? Like, what was the first instrument you learned to play?
So the first instrument was violin. Actually, I
Oh,
was really
amazing.
young. Yeah, I was 9. So my mum's a classical musician and music teacher, and she plays piano and sings in operettas and stuff.
Oh,
So she
wow.
was kind of, yeah. So she was like the my first sort of inspiration, I guess. Like, I'd
Yeah.
listen to her play piano and sing, and she taught me a little bit of piano when I was younger. But the first instrument was violin. So yeah, I was a classical musician right up until probably about 14, and that's when I decided to pick up guitar, and then a whole like new world of sort of
Wow.
alternative music and songwriting, and that opened up for me. But I fell in love with that because it was giving me a refreshing change from the kind of regimented, very theory based, very
Yeah.
technique based classical side of kind of learning and performing.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
So
nice that
yeah,
you can still tap into that though. If you wanted to bring it in though, that's nice. You have that opportunity to be like, actually, yeah, I'd like to mess around with that a little bit, but you can do it in a more unconventional way now because you've got that power to kind of play around with stuff. So I think that's really cool.
thank you. Yeah, and nail on the head. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah, I actually feel a bit guilty because I kind of neglected violin recently. Well, I say recently, for the last few years. Like I barely play it really, but occasionally I'll get it out and like use it for a production or like a track, and it's nice to have that skill there for sure.
That fresh outlet, absolutely. Because how is it kind of like transitioning to London? Because like I know you've got some feet quite firmly in the West Midlands scene as well, so that's kind of nice. You've got kind of like two scenes going on. How has it been, kind of like spending music as a musician in London?
It's very different. Like
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it and I've made some great connections here. Like
Mm,
I'm still not quite as in with promoters and live event based stuff as I would like. But I
yeah.
think obviously now, given the current climate, that's really difficult anyway.
Yeah.
But and so yeah, my links in Birmingham in that way are a lot stronger.
Mm,
And this is the thing: when I moved to London, I never wanted to like turn my back on Birmingham because I love Brum as well, and I think Brum's kind of scene is becoming really good now and really solid, and also the kind of infrastructure around that is improving. But yeah, I always wanted to kind of keep those ties. So I've gone back to Birmingham and gigged there a lot. I've tried to really kind of maintain the relationships with creatives there as well. But London's quite different. It's just a lot more daunting. You know, it's so big. It's almost like there's loads of different fragmented scenes
oh yeah,
going
they're
on.
different.
Yeah. And yes, it took me a while to get my head around it. I'll be honest. You know, after coming from Birmingham, because Birmingham, as much as it's a big city, it's a little bit more unified. I think the kind of the scene
Yeah.
there, the city centre and the venues are all a lot closer together.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, but it's been good. It's been a wicked challenge, and I've got some really cool opportunities in terms of like as a composer
Oh,
that I
amazing.
probably wouldn't have got if I was in Brum. So that's great because that's like another side of my career I'd like to kind of develop as well, like making music for content and stuff like that.
Oh,
Not
amazing.
just
Yeah.
seeing myself as a performer and producing my own stuff, my songwriting stuff. You know, just
Yeah.
trying to kind of put many fingers in many pies, I
That's
guess.
what you gotta do. And I think that's nice
Yeah,
that you kept your fingers in both scenes as well, because I think that's really nice. Because just because you move somewhere doesn't mean you have to leave your roots behind and stuff. Because
for
you've
sure.
worked with some great Brum artists as well. You've got Lady Sanity and Vital on a couple of tracks as well. So, you know, and you can still work with them. It's just nice to just keep it going, isn't it? And just having that
Sure,
that
100%.
unity with it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. You know, yeah, I feel blessed to have worked with Vital and Lady Sanity,
Wicked
and you
artist.
know, to have kind of worked with loads of Birmingham artists on the live scene there. And also there's a soul R&B singer called Call Me Unique. I don't know if you've heard of Call Me Unique.
No, I
She's
haven't.
great.
Right, must do.
I produced her EP Urban Gypsy 2 a few years
Amazing.
back. That's the only time I've ever produced for another artist, and that was quite a challenge at the time. It was
Yeah.
really fun, and she's awesome. You know, I've had the opportunity to work with her so much. Really rate her. Lots of love for her. Um, and there's a bunch of other Brum artists as well that I really want to collaborate with at some point. Who I'm talking to. So it's almost like I've got so many things I want to do and not enough time, really.
I know that's the thing. Is like, when can we do? And with the world being so difficult, it is hard to think when can we actually maybe get together and do something. It's just tricky, isn't it? But it will come. Lighter times are going to come, hopefully. So fingers
Fingers
crossed.
crossed. Yeah, hopefully soon as well. Like I really hope we can maybe towards the end of it. I think it's probably the first half of this year we're still going to be seeing a lot of restrictions, but maybe in the second half we can, you know, once the vaccines, you know, been out and circulated more, and hopefully we can see some opening up to some extent.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's nice because you've done some bits at home. I've seen your Geeks Beats videos on your channels and stuff. They look really fun to make. I mean, you look like you were proper in your zone, like having a creativity sesh. Were they quite nice videos to make for you?
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's really fun. It's been great actually. It is a lot of work and a lot of
Yeah.
effort, but as I'm on number 6 now. I've got number 6 coming next week,
Ah. Oh,
and I've basically given myself like a year challenge. So it's
yeah.
every 2 weeks is a new beat. So
Nice.
every other Tuesday, and then on the Tuesdays where there isn't a new beat, I drop a Geeks Beats chat, which is where I chat about what I'm
Oh,
doing
yeah.
and like take the piss on myself generally, and
Gotta do it.
um,
Gotta
yeah,
do it.
got to do it right. Try not take myself too seriously because Yeah, you know, you got to laugh at yourself.
You do, I feel
But
that.
yeah, exactly. But it's been super fun. It's been a big challenge so far, but my workflow is getting better with it. And I think really it's just it's given me a good way of kind of approaching what I do differently and sharing how it's done, so that people can actually maybe connect with it differently, you know,
Yeah.
understand it better.
It keeps the creative juices flowing, doesn't it, and stuff. And it's almost like playing a gig. You're still playing live, but it's not quite the same, obviously, because it's all virtual. But it's still having that essence of playing something live and kind of messing around with a few bits. So that's like a nice touch. But you've got some lovely
Right.
like music videos on your YouTube as well. I had a look at your live session of Fluid that you did in the Peak District, which is so
Yeah.
cool. I mean, how was it filming up there? It looked very windy. It looked like you getting blown away a little bit.
Yeah, do you know what? It was we had to rent a specific kind of mic with a huge windbreaker on it
Yeah.
to actually, you know, get the audio sounding decent.
Sounded good though, because I was going to ask you about that because I was like,
Thanks.
how did it sound so good with no wind? It was sick.
Yeah, it worked out really well. We it was just me, my manager and my manager is Tom Bradshaw Smith, and my uh, a friend Dom Katina, who does a lot of my video stuff. He's a
Yeah.
great cameraman, animator, just visual artist, and yeah, he's a good dude. And it was just the three of us in the Peak District. It was actually quite sunny on that day, so I know on the video, because we did a few takes to get it right. There were like takes where it got too windy and we had to stop, or a mistake and we had to stop and start again. So, but yeah, on the actual take that we did, I think it was like cloud was covering the sun for the most part, and then just at
Yeah.
the end the sun kind of comes out at a really nice part in the song, and it worked out really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a funny story behind that, because we were filming in that location for probably 3.5 to 4 hours
Yeah.
in the sun, and as you can see, I'm quite fair.
Fair
I
lad.
didn't get any sunscreen. So yeah, I got like horrifically burned on that day. Like
Oh
by the end of
no.
that shoot, I was so pink. I looked like a lobster for about a week and a half.
Oh no. Could you not
Really bad.
could you not feel it as well? Because sometimes when it's windy, you can't feel the sun, can you? Or could you feel it?
So it was windy, yeah, which obviously kind of masked it a bit. But then I was becoming aware of it after maybe like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I was thinking like, shit, yeah, it's been quite sunny for quite a long time, and I know what I'm like. And it's
Oh
like
yeah.
midday. I was like, I think I'm probably burning here. But
Oh no,
yeah.
all for art, all for art. But at least it looks sick, so that's the main thing. It sounded good and looked good, so you know you can be like, I got burnt for a reason. It's okay.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it turned out really nice, that video. Yeah. So Dom, the guy who filmed it, he had a drone and did
Oh
some
yeah.
nice, yeah, those really nice sweeping drone shots of the landscape, and it
Yeah, you need
just looked so
those.
good, and like it really fits the vibe of the song. So yeah.
Absolutely, but I think all your music does have such a vibe to it. I mean, there's some like hints of folk in there as well, and like mulched in with the kind of pop beats, which I really like about it. Because you've worked with Enigma Dubs on quite a few of your tracks as well. You've done an EP. I mean, how is it working with him and working on a few tracks? Because I mean, your music seems to go really well together.
Thanks. Yeah, he's a pleasure to work with. He's a really good friend. His output is incredible as a
Yeah,
producer, super versatile, really talented. I've learned a lot from him actually in terms of production as well. Like he helped me a lot
absolutely.
when I was kind of finding my feet as a producer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. So what you said, that there is a folk influence to what I do, but he really perfectly manages to balance that with ambient electronic and sometimes really deep sort of future bass sounds.
Yeah.
And I think we've hit upon like a really good combo the more we've worked together. Like, and obviously that was reflected more recently, just like last year with the EP we did together and
Yeah.
the success we had with that. So a track called Part of You, which he remixed, did really well, and we got on a Spotify editorial
Yeah.
playlist called Creamy, and that sort of like shot our listeners up quite significantly. So that was, yeah, really good for me specifically. And yeah, like just love working with him. We've got more stuff in the works. Got more stuff.
Oh, that's exciting because he mixed and mastered Smile Vibration, which is your latest single, which is lovely. I played that on my show and I absolutely love that one because you can hear those folk bits coming out of it as well. It's really lovely written as well. You've written it so wonderfully and
Oh,
it just
thank
works
you.
so well. I mean, that track seems to have gone down really well for you as well. Was it nice to have it out there?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's still quite fresh. You know, it's literally a few weeks it's been out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's lovely to get that one out there, because I feel like it's obviously it's my solo track and my production, and obviously
Yes.
Enigma mixed and mastered it so well, and I love how it's turned out. And yeah, it's getting a really nice response. It's got playlisted a few times. Obviously, got some airplay from yourself and BBC Introducing, and some of the Birmingham radio stations. And I just want to kind of expand my reach with it, really. There's a lot of my identity in that track, in terms of how I approach life and living, with things that I've learned from mindfulness in there, and meditation, and they're really, really big parts of my life that have helped me get over a lot of my mental health issues that I kind of struggled with in the past. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just, it's not just a song for me. It's almost like it's something that I want to, it's like a philosophy that I want to spread, and hopefully um, help people come to realizations with, or look at life in a different way. That's my goal, really. Like that's what I really want to do.
And it's so nice you have the, the power to kind of do what you want with the track as well. So you've produced it, so you can kind of, how you want it to sound, and you can kind of like mold it around that, which is a really nice shot. And and then you mix and master it, and then it just gets bigger, doesn't it? But it's nice that you have that initial creative control, and you can do all that stuff first. And I think, then it becomes a really personal track to you, and it has that personal feel to everybody else then as well, because it's kind of come straight from you, which is
Sure,
really cool. Come across really nicely.
you're spot on. You're bang on.
So what's next for you? Have you been writing, and have you got some new stuff that we're going to see maybe this year?
Yeah. I've been, so obviously Geats Beats is ongoing. So, please follow me on Instagram, or subscribe to me on YouTube, if you want to kind of check those out, because that's a new video every Tuesday. And I am working on lots of tracks at the moment. So Smile Vibes has dropped as a single, but it's going to be part of a bigger release, an EP, which will be
Ooh.
coming eventually. But yeah, those tracks are kind of written in the bag, and I'm sort of applying finishing touches to those. So that's really exciting. And then more collaborations planned for later in the year, obviously with Enigma dubs, but also with a producer who I recently had the joy of unleashing into the world. So me and my manager, we started a label called Brox Records.
Yeah.
And towards the end of last year, we dropped an EP by a producer called Visco City, based in Croydon.
Cool.
And he's great, super talented. It's just very, very kind of glitchy, super creative electronic music, very sample based, but kind of lots of really, really creative use of those samples in a way that just, when I first heard his stuff, it just blew my mind. And I kind of met him as a friend through a bigger group of friends.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he produced music until one day when he just started sharing some music in a WhatsApp group, and I was like, holy,
Wait, what's
what?
this? Hang on.
Wow, that's like crazy. It's like, I'll never forget the moment. Like, I was listening with headphones, and I was just like, how have you even produced that? Like,
Where has this come from?
yeah. And he was really like sort of, unsure about it, and kind of a little bit, I guess, shy and humble about it. And I was just like, dude, this is like, whoa. So I just sent his music over to Tom, my manager, and it's just like, we haven't released anyone else on the label yet. Should we help this guy? Like, should we do? So he did. Yeah, so we did. It was awesome. For his first EP, called Solstice, dropped last year. And yeah, he has been, I sent him over some of my stems. Let's just put it that way. So.
Oh yeah, so we'll see what's gonna come out of there. That is so cool. I mean, that's a great position for you to be in as well, that you get to hear somebody at their really early stage and be like, they've got something huge there, and then let's excel them. So that's great for you. You're working on every side of the industry, and that's really nice.
It is, it's honestly, it feels like just so amazing. Like, I can't put it into words how like wonderful it feels. Like, after kind of working on music for a few years, to get to this stage now where I genuinely feel like, yeah, what we're doing is still small, but we've put so much of our identity and our like love into it, and now we're in a position to hopefully just see that grow and flourish. And it's so lovely for me to feel like I could potentially help other artists put their first releases out there, and kind of teach them what I've learned, or what me and my manager Tom have learned, like, on this journey so far, that we can put some of that into other people's careers, and who knows where we could end up in however many years time, like I just want to do this. This is what I want to do, right? So it just feels like the building blocks are properly in place now, and just want to keep.
Absolutely. And it, like you said, it's only going to grow for you as a musician and for you as a, you know, it's like a record label and stuff like that, and putting people out there. I think that's like so exciting. Well, Ed, that all sounds so exciting for you. And it sounds like you've got a cracking year ahead as well. We're only in January. That all sounds really, really exciting. So I hope the rest of the
Yeah,
year goes well for you. And best of luck. And
thanks
I'm
a lot.
excited for new tunes as well.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate you having the time for an interview, and